All right, good morning. Week 10, man, it's flying by. On the road last week, I talked to the guys on Monday about I thought we had a lot of energy, which I think is really positive. Every time you go on the road, I think that's any game you play really, but especially when you go on the road. So I thought our guys brought a lot of energy, which helped us. I thought our kickoff coverage was maybe as good as it's been all year, and that created a lot of excitement because we had some really big hits that you could see on the sideline, created a lot of excitement, which was good. So I thought that was positive from the game. On the other side of, I don't think we executed very well at all, probably more so even defensively and offensively at times as well. And so I think that's the area we got to continue to grow in. If we can get ourselves ready to play with the right energy and then start executing at a little higher level, that's what we need, as we go down the stretch here. And so I think those are the things we talked about. Too many penalties, just some things that, that we got to clean up and be better at. But I thought the biggest positive was just we came with some energy. We came with a little something about us. And if you do that, a lot of times you can overcome some things. So it was good. It's a good win. We got to move on to the next one. Playing a team that in my mind is, you look at their record, and I would say it's probably the best. What are they, 2-7 right now? Maybe the best 2-7 team you're going to see. They can score points whenever they need to. I think they're averaging close to 30 points a game. Really, the quarterback does a good job. They got a really good group of wideouts. And defensively they're playing good football. I mean, they're playing Monmouth last weekend, and it's, I don't know, with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, I think it's like 31-27. I mean, it's a ball game. So really good football team. We've never been over there. It is a tough place to play because I have been there. It's been a long time, and Coach Cook on our staff has been there a good bit. It's a pretty tradition-rich program and place to play that's hosted multiple national championships at the Division II level. So we're going to have to get ready to go play, and build on some of the positives I talked about, clean up some execution, from the game Saturday, and see if we can continue to get better and build on some stuff. I think we're getting some guys back. We're getting closer every day. I hope we can, as far as health, I hope we can continue to do that and get close to back where we have at least the guys that can get back will be back for us here soon, hopefully. So we'll see how this week plays out. But and I told our guys, man, every game you win this time of year, it makes that next game that much bigger and that much more important. And for some teams, they may not have all their goals intact right now. We do. We got a lot to play for right now, which to me means you really got to dig in your preparation and take one day at a time and focus on the task at hand for Tuesday, and that's it. And then we work to the next day, and that's all we worry about. And I think it's more important now than we always talk about it, but probably more important now than ever. So I'll open the floor for questions.
Coach, first thing, Shepard got dinged up, left the game in the fourth quarter. How's his status for this week?
I think he'll be able to play. I mean, he didn't practice yesterday, but he was doing stuff. I think we'll see how he is today, but, nothing major. I think he'll be back. It's just a matter of him getting comfortable and going back, so he should be back.
One of the other things we talked about after the game is you mentioned how many freshmen were having the opportunity to play, and they were, they're not just playing, they're contributing. One of the things that you guys kind of pride yourself on is the fact each recruiting class, you're going out and trying to out-recruit the guys that were there before. So when you see some of these freshmen like Dante Justice and a Chance Gamble and a Dylan Hand who got the interception late, those guys getting a chance to step up, what are you seeing from them, and is that kind of the expectation?
Yeah, I mean, it's the expectation. I think we've it's a little bit on me too, I'll be honest with you, over the years. If a kid wasn't going to play, I've tried to build it out for 5 years and this and that, and I've kind of got to a point that and maybe it's just with the landscape of college football right now. I completely changed my mindset this year, and it's like if they can help us, let's go play them. Let's go play them. and I've never really been that way. And so some guys have earned that right this year just because they were going to play regardless. And then there's a handful of others that, that maybe in previous years we might have just said, hey, let's hang on, those 4 games. But right now we got some guys, we got a lot more freshmen playing than ever. You got, both the Benyard boys are true freshmen. And when I say freshmen, I'm really talking about true freshmen that just got here that are playing. Jaden Walker, Montrell Jenkins, Chance Gamble. There may be some others I'm missing, but that's right off the top of my head. There's a handful there. And whether they're starting on either side of the ball, but they're contributing on special teams in some different areas, which is, and I think this year's kind of been that perfect storm a little bit. We've had so many injuries along the way that everybody on the roster needed to be ready to play. And it's just, and I think it's just kind of worked its way into that as the year's gone on. So, but there's definitely guys contributing, and there may be more as we go. Their role may even become greater than what it is now. But I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and those guys have gone out, and the guys that are playing have earned it. And then we've had a lot of injuries, and then I've had a little bit of a philosophical change. Just, we're not going to go crazy and just, but if guys can help us and it makes sense, then we've just that's something we've done this year that we really haven't done before. We've averaged playing 2 freshmen a year outside of when the new redshirt rule and all that. But that's what we've been up until this year.
Kind of along those lines, when you think of the freshmen that have had the opportunity, and then you pair it with guys like, Ian Cousin and Xavier Shepard and Xavier Hill and Nakeem Farrow and all these guys that are only sophomores. I know we're in the moment, but do you ever take a second to think, hey, we're in pretty good shape, at least for the core, for the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever think that way. I don't mean that in a bad way to any of those kids you just named, because it's got nothing to do with them. I've said all along we're a fairly young football team, and we are. There's some spots we have some age, but there is a lot of spots that we're younger. I'm not necessarily saying true freshmen, but we're just and then we brought in a handful of guys that have never been in our program, and truthfully, they're young.
Alabama offense. It looks like they've gone through 3 quarterbacks this year. But the young man that they've kind of set on is, I think it's the Files kid, and they're averaging 30 points over the last 5, and he's thrown about for 270. And then they've got the Boykin and the Hall guys at wideout. So when you look at the tape, what are you seeing from those guys that really make – what are their strengths? Yeah,
I think they're, the wideout group as a whole is as explosive as maybe we've seen. You know what I mean? It's a really good group. You got the pecking order, because it was a couple years ago that Hall, if I'm not mistaken, was their leading guy, and he didn't play in our game. And I think I'm correct on saying that. But now you got another guy, I don't remember his name, is 15. I know their numbers because you see them. But so they got a really deep group of wideouts, and they're doing a great job of getting the ball distributed to those guys that can make plays. And then they roll in several running backs and keep you honest with the run game. But they're explosive now. They're kind of streaky. It's like they got behind, Saturday, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're back in the game. So it's we're gonna have to go play well. At times we've been, it's not like we've just shut people down on defense. So we're going to have to go play well. I think the big thing is preventing the big play. We got to prevent the big play, and then we got to make them earn everything. And it's going to be a challenge. They're good offensively. I think they do a really good job. And it's a different coordinator, but the heck, they came in here in 19, and they were up. And so it was. So they do a nice job, and they got some really good skill kids that can make some plays. So anytime you got that, man, you can score fast. That's you got to be on your toes.
Last thing for me, beginning of October, you guys had just gone through, beating Wofford, beating Jacksonville, and you're sitting at number 17, I think, in the poll. And I know you don't look at it, but you're saying, hey, they ask us to go do these things, we go do it, and they don't reward us. Well, this past week, now you're number 5 by the coaches, number 10 by the media, and with the coaches, you're ahead of both North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and Eastern Washington. 3 pretty hefty programs in themselves. So do you feel like maybe you guys have earned some of that respect now?
No, I don't think we're there yet, and I don't think it really matters if we don't go have a good practice and have a good week, because all that stuff you've done will get thrown by the wayside because you don't take care of your business and the task at hand. So, I think we got a lot of work to do. I think the good thing is that everything's in front of us, and it's in our control. We control it, which is this time of year, man, everybody can't say that. So we control it. The polls are the polls. I see the information. I'm not going to act like I don't. I see the information, but I don't really talk about it. And because if we don't have a great practice today, all that stuff ain't going to matter. It'll be gone. Be gone just like that. So we got to take care of and focus on the moment and the task at hand, and that's really all we can worry about right now.
Coach, a couple of questions. The first, going back to Gabriel Binyard. So before he scored that touchdown, there was a fumble on the pitch to him. When you called the next play, was it designed to see if that's something that y'all would, correct immediately, or was that an option play and that was the read where it just happened to go back to him and then we were able to make the play for the touchdown?
We're calling plays based on what they're doing on defense. So I'd like to say, let's go give him another shot. But it really wasn't about that. It was just that's the play call, and it just happened to work out. I mean, ball on the ground's a big deal, right? But we usually don't completely panic on that. Like if you've watched us, I mean, now if it becomes a repetitive problem, but. So we just move on to the next play call. We don't have time to, there ain't enough time to get all caught up in some of that. And if it's a real problem, then we'll get them out of the game and we'll deal with it and get them back in. But, it was just a shallow pitch track and a lack of concentration for a moment. And I think it was corrected and move on. He made a nice run. And that's stuff we got to fix because we can't afford those negative plays, much less not recovering it. But there wasn't a lot of, honestly, I think sometimes there's more made into the next play call than there really is, or it was the next play call. And unfortunately, he was, with the help of his teammates, was able to make a play.
I feel like we've had this conversation before where Caleb O'Neal gets rewarded. He does a lot of good things, and then he gets the ball thrown his way. Not only did he have a career game with touchdown catches and receiving yards, but on that Binyard play, I mean, he was blocking his defender just about to the end zone with Gabriel. What more growth have you seen out of Caleb with this offense that's opened up the past couple of weeks as far as passing goes?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's anything different than before. It's just we're able to connect and make the plays happen. You know what I mean? It's he's trustworthy, he's reliable, he plays every snap like it's his last. On that play where he was blocking, Xavier Hill, the other wideout, had an outstanding block. Prior to, you see Caleb down the field, but before that, Xavier Hill had a great block that helped spring Gabe as well. But I think Caleb just goes to work, man. He's a workmanlike. He doesn't care whether we throw him the ball or he blocks every snap, or he didn't care. He just wants to go win. He wants to do what's right by his team and by his teammates and by our team, and I think that's why he's successful. I tell our guys all the time, man. Team success will bring individual accolade. Team success will bring individual accolade. You go put yourself aside and you go bust your tail for your teammates, man, good stuff happens. It'll work itself out. But, Caleb is he just does that, and he's been to the right place at the right time. And it's not like we're calling, hey, let's go throw the ball to Caleb. He's in there. He plays a lot because he's a good player. And he's we're able to connect on some stuff right now, which has been really good. It's been really good. I mean, we've been able to do some stuff throwing the ball really in the last month or so that, has been really good for us.
And lastly, Coach, it looked like the play that Robert Morris had the most success with. They'd run a bit of a play action. They take one of those tight ends, third or fourth tight end, and drag them deep down the field. Is that something that UNA you expect may try to emulate in a different way or go back to that play?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we had really bad eyes. So, when you're supposed to key a tight end, you got to look at the tight end. But when you're looking in the backfield, then the tight end gets behind you. So really on those particular, and they did it several times, our eyes on the back end were not where they needed to be. So that's something we got to get fixed. I don't know that they'll do some of the same stuff. They'll have their ways of doing it, and they'll see some things, I'm sure, as everybody game plans. But on our part, we had really bad eyes. We weren't looking where we were supposed to look and there were several times it was really the same concept. And I think it's just people looking at what they're supposed to, and that's why I go back to some of the execution stuff of what we were doing was not near what it needed to be.
So, just your thoughts on Tyler Moore. Those first two possessions for the Colonials, he had 2 forced fumbles, and he recovered the first one on sort of a heads-up play where nobody else was going for it. Just your thoughts on how he opened up the game for you guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're driving now getting ready to score, and Tyler makes 2 plays, and Tyler loves football, man. He plays hard all the time. And listen, we've played Tyler inside, outside. We've had to move him around all year because we've had guys injured. He'd been started on the inside interior D-line. Then we moved him to end. Then we moved into rush. We've had to move him around. But he's one of those guys that understands what we're doing and plays extremely hard. And, his effort, busting his tail, true game changers in my mind, especially early in a game like that when they're driving the ball and we're able to get a turnover, really on 2 possessions there. But that's a credit to Tyler. Tyler loves the game. And he's an ultimate competitor. He's really done a great job for us. And the role we've asked him to do is different things. And he just says, yes, sir, I'll go play this. I'll do whatever you need me to, which I think is the reason he's having success right now. It's just the way he goes about his business and his attitude. So I'm extremely proud of him. I know he'll continue to do that. But those 2 plays were huge. They were huge.
And then we've sort of talked about it before. Monmouth, they have one of the top 2 defenses in the Big South right now, and Northern Alabama was able to score 33 points, which is the most they've allowed all season. So how are you looking to prepare for North Alabama's offense?
Yeah, the first thing we got to do is go fix some stuff that we didn't do well on Saturday, which a lot of it's eyes, looking where you're supposed to, doing your job. There were some things we didn't do well, and we got to go fix those. And at the end of the day, you got to keep them from running the ball, and you got to prevent big plays. And what that is, they got to earn everything. And that's really that's who we are. And then hopefully with our, if we can play hard like we're supposed to, we'll create some turnovers along the way that'll give us an advantage. But I said in the opening, they can score points, and they've done it against a lot of folks. In fact, you go look at their scores, and even the games they've lost, they're scoring points. So it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, we got to go get ready, and we got to play a lot better than we did on Saturday. And this is nothing against Rob Morris, but this offense is much more explosive than what we just played. So we're going to have to play much better.
You sort of mentioned the turnovers there. North Alabama has been putting up good passing stats, but they have had 7 interceptions in 3 games. So they are a little mistake-prone on offense, and how important is capitalizing on that?
No question. You even look at the game Saturday, you got to be opportunistic. You got to – and I think doing your job and playing extremely hard, if you do that, hopefully you put yourself in a position when those things come up, and that's what we got to do, and we're going to find a way to do it. I mean, our goal every week is to get 3 turnovers. We got it this past week, which we haven't done a ton this year, which, like I said, those first 2, especially the third one was kind of late in the game. But the first 2, where you were talking about earlier, I mean, those are impactful now. So I think it's going to be important Saturday, without a doubt. We got to be sound. We got to keep them in front of us. We got to get them on the ground, and obviously got to find a way to get some turnovers.
Coach, I would go as far as to say this is one of the best special teams performances you guys have been able to put on. Nate Robertson, career long, Ben Yard with a big return. You guys being able to cover kickoffs like you were talking about. What'd you say in the special teams meeting before? What got these guys so jacked up?
Well, I think we've been talking about it, and I know Coach Zachary on the kickoff team. I mean, we've been trying to get those guys to go down with the right intentions, and it's been a focal point. But I'll be honest with you, they decided they wanted to do it. We've been harping on it. We've been talking about it. And like I said, we got ready to play. I mean, it's hard to tell if you weren't there, but there was as much energy on the sideline Saturday as there was back when we played A&T, which was one of the more energetic games I think we've had here. And it was the same. We're just on the road in a different place. And I think that's a big piece of it. And then somebody goes and makes a play. You run down on kickoff, and Clemens, I mean, he waylays the guy. And, I mean, the whole sideline erupts. I mean, that energy, dude, that's infectious now. Like, that's stuff that's really good, and that's stuff we got to build on because it was really good Saturday. It was actually fun at times as a coach because normally you're grinding the way through, but our kids were over there messing with their kick returner that he was going to fair catch the next one, and it was actually enjoyable, and because they were into it. They were having fun. That's what it's supposed to be. And I think from a special teams perspective, we've kind of been a little bit hot and cold all year. But outside of maybe punt team, I thought we put together a pretty good day. I mean, a decent kick return, which was nice. Nothing major on punt return, really impactful on kickoff coverage. But we've been talking about trying to get all three phases working together, and we made some progress, but we still haven't really hit on all cylinders yet. But I think there was some progress made, especially on kickoff coverage. And then Nate hitting the field goal at the end was huge. I didn't realize that was the career longest and the longest in our history. I had no idea. But that stuff's all big, and it feeds on the guys on the sideline, which is big. So special teams, man, those are huge momentum plays. They're as far as changing the field, they're huge plays and momentum plays. So hopefully we could continue to do some of that. We got to clean up some other stuff. Hopefully we continue that.
Coach, my last question. You said you haven't made the trip up to North Alabama yet. Are you aware that they have live lions on campus? And do you plan on making a trip to go see them?
No and no. I have been to North Alabama before. Their stadium's not on campus, but I have been to their stadium back when I was coaching at West Georgia when they were basically playing for the national championship in Division II every year. We went over there. So, but no, I do not know about the Lions. I don't even know if I have a good comment right now that would probably not get myself in trouble with somebody. No, I don't know much about that, in all honesty. I'm sure we'll get to see everything when we get there Saturday. So as long as they're caged up and nowhere near me, I'm good.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all.